sun was setting over the beach, casting a golden glow on the sand. There were a few people here and there. Ann wasn't particularly alone, but she still felt lonelier than ever. Sitting on a bench, she stared at the calm ocean waves. The serene scene contrasted sharply with the turmoil inside her. She picked up her phone and saw no notifications, no missed calls, nothing from her husband. With a deep sigh, she lowered the phone. Why was he being so mad over something so petty? You might as well be wondering what exactly is going on here. Allow me to explain. Ann got a job offer, and she went to an interview without asking her dear husband, because she knew he was going to refuse her to work under the CEO who was his friend. He thought people might assume things about them, like if he was financially supporting his wife or not. Ann thought it was petty. Jungkook thought otherwise. Ann sighed and was about to get up when her phone rang all of a sudden. She rushed to see if it was Jungkook calling, but the screen flashed her brother's name. Bro, it read. Hey, Jimin, she said tiredly into the phone. Ann. A loud, cheerful voice came through. What have you been up to? Nothing really, she sighed again before collecting her voice. Why did you call? Whoa, you sound like you didn't want me to call you. Everything's okay? No, that's not what I meant. I just don't want to talk right now. Can you call me later? She said tiredly, trying her best to not offend her brother. Jimin knew something was wrong with Ann because she never refused his calls and always talked cheerfully. Ann, where are you? Jimin, please, I want to be alone right now. Tell me where you are. Please. Ann, tell me or I'm going to file a missing report for you. No, I'm at the beach. She finally gave in. There you are. He spotted a quiet Ann at a lonely bench staring at the ocean waves. She looked at him and passed a tired smile. Here, have some chocolate. Why did you bother? She looked between the chocolate and Jimin's expecting eyes. Are you for real? My sister is moping alone somewhere and I'm not supposed to do anything about it. What are siblings for anyway? He unwrapped the chocolate and forced it inside Ann's mouth. Hey, Pa! She unwillingly bit on the chocolate. As if on a clue, serotonin surged through her entire system and she felt alive. A smile appeared on her face and she looked up to find Jimin grinning like an idiot. I know you better than you know yourself, he said sheepishly as he handed her the chocolate and went to sit next to her. Tell me what's going on. It's stupid, really. She avoided his gaze and kept eating the chocolate. Really? I don't buy it. Look me in the eyes and tell me what happened, he insisted, quite sternly so. Also, it's really not stupid if it brought you here brooding. Jimin, I don't know, it's just Jungkook and I, she sighed. We had a fight. What? Why? What happened? Remember the job offer I told you about? Turns out the CEO, the boss, he knows Jungkook. Jungkook thinks they'll assume he's not supporting me financially or something. He wants me to quit. She stared at her lap, looking mindlessly at half-eaten chocolate in her hands. And what did you say? I don't want to quit, Jimin. I want that job. I'm going insane at home. She finally looked at Jimin, desperation swimming through her eyes. If he wants you to quit just because the boss knows him, then it's really stupid. Right, it's just stupid. And see, he doesn't even care about me. I was waiting for him to call me, to ask about me. He just... She said watery-eyed, a sob breaking free from her throat. Hey, it's okay. Come here. He scooted closer and wrapped an arm around her back. He might be busy. I know Jungkook. He'd never willingly hurt you. But he just did. She sobbed into Jimin's chest. Or maybe you're reading too much into it. The Jungkook we all know would never do that, be it opposing or ignoring. Am I really? She whispered, dabbing her tears dry as she pulled away. Am I really overthinking it? Positive? He smiled. How can you be so sure, though? She mumbled with her lips jutting out in a pout. Because one, he's my best friend, and I've known him longer than you, and if you remember, you guys met through me. Really, that's how. She rolled her eyes. And... He glared at Ann for interrupting him. Second, If I'm not mistaken, there's a black Mercedes, an identical spitting image of Jungkook's car parked right next to beach. What? She whispered, almost not believing what Jimin said. Her frantic eyes looked at the road, and there it was, a black Mercedes. He was there when I arrived, he said calmly to a visibly shaken Hwa-yan, who didn't know if she should smile or cry at her situation. He's probably been watching you all this while. I don't know, so should I go? She fidgeted around on her heels. Go, Hwa-yan, isn't this what you wanted? I know, will he be mad? You're married to him, you should know him better. But you're his best friend, just go. He playfully pushed her to move forward, and when she resisted, he grabbed her wrist and pulled her along all the way to beach entrance where the car was parked. When they drew nearer, the door to the car opened, and out came Jungkook in all his glory. He was wearing a blank expression, his arm folded across his chest that made his arms look even bigger. Here, Kook, I believe she's yours. He pushed Hwa-yan to get closer to Jungkook. She immediately grew aware and stopped inches away from him. She didn't meet his eyes and kept looking down. Thank you for taking care of my wife, I'll take it from here, he said listlessly, his expression still very stoic and indifferent. You better bye, I'll see you tomorrow, Kook. He bid farewell and left for his car. Jungkook looked at Hwa-yan again. She was not meeting his eyes. Jungkook sighed and went around to open the front door for her. Hwa-yan walked to the side and quietly hopped in. Jungkook followed suit and pulled the car out on the road. The car ride was silent. Hwa-yan really wanted Jungkook to say something, but he seemed like he had taken a vow of silence, like he was in a very intense staring contest with the windshield. They arrived back home and Jungkook took an extra measure to open the Hwa-yan side of the door. She got out while looking at him with a longing gaze and followed him inside. I ordered some food. It'll arrive in a few minutes, he announced, having his back to Hwa-yan. Jungkook! She softly called his name and he looked back in a flash as if waited an eternity for this moment. Are you mad at me? Jungkook didn't say anything. He turned his back and began taking his tie off. I'm sorry about last night. I know I just acted way out of my character. I should not have called you all those things, she said in a regrettable voice. Jungkook stopped and looked back at her again. Memories of that day fill his mind. You don't understand, Hwa-yan, he said as he stiffly leaned back on the bed, typed something on his laptop. So, make me understand, Jungkook. Why is that so hard? She shouted, throwing her hands in the air as she stood inches away from the bed. I know Richard Cox. He just doesn't have a good reputation around. He'll probably spread the word that I don't take care of you, he tried to calmly. Oh, for God's sake, you don't want me to work just because of some rumors about him? Hwa-yan, I told you what I know. He sighed as he closed his laptop and looked at her. And you're not my dad, so I'll do what I want. She snorted, crossing her arms over her chest. If you wanted to do it, then why did you ask me? He didn't look at her, just kept his laptop on the nightstand and pulled the duvet over him. You're right, I should not have asked you. This is my life. I will do what I want. She grumbled as she watched him sleep. It's all right, he said flatly and took off his blazer. That's it? She said with a raised brow, her tone more curious than angry. What else do you want me to do? He looked back at her again, annoyance evident on his face. Hwa-yan took her clue and nodded in understanding. Right, she loudly exhaled. Well, I'm not hungry, I'll just go and sleep, she announced, and before Jungkook could say something, she walked quickly to a room not their shared bedroom. Jungkook threw himself back on the sofa in exasperation. He didn't know how to go about the whole situation. They never fought like this before. The food arrived shortly, and for the first time since their wedding, Jungkook ate the dinner alone. It was late at night, and Hwa-yan was twisting and turning in her bed. She couldn't get a wink of sleep all this while. She was used to him, used to Jungkook. Oh, she cried out. This is so stupid, 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 stupid. She sat up on bed that felt so foreign to her. God, I need him. She jumped out of the bed and walked back and forth, trying to come up with something, and right then a wicked smile took over her face. A hoodie. I love that black hoodie he wears. It's comfortable and smells like him. I should get it. And she stopped fidgeting. Oh yeah, baby, I bet he's sleeping right now. I'll slip in real quiet, grab that hoodie and return. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. She walked out to their shared bedroom and quietly sneaked in, tiptoeing to their closet. The room was dark and her phone light wasn't helping much. She held the phone between her teeth and walked with her hands, desperately trying to feel everything. And then right there she felt something firm. Her heart dropped and knees blocked. No, it can't be, she thought. But how could she mistake those muscles for something else? This was him. This was Jungkook. Do you think you'll go like this? He joked while rubbing his hair dry with a towel. Wai-an gave him a dry expression and limped her way to the bathroom. Hey, take the pills or you'll limp all day. Another reason to thank you for. She rolled her eyes and went in to take a shower. Of course, my generosity knows no bounds. He called after her and Wai-an replied with a dry, oh please. Hey, I'm going to make breakfast. At that time, Wai-an's phone started ringing. Jungkook picked up the phone and told them to call back in a while. Moments later, Wai-an came out and the phone rang once again. She tightened the towel around her hair and picked up the phone. It was her university friend who got a job in Cox Enterprise as well. Maria, hey, Maria, I'm leaving the post, Wai-an. Whoa, slow down, good morning. Maria, I'm serious, Wai-an. I don't understand. You were so sure about this position. Maria, until I came to know that Richard Cox has a history of harassing his female employees. He lied about firing his last assistant. She resigned quite willingly so. What? She said breathlessly. Are you sure? Maria, 110%. He said he fired 28 assistants this year because they were not up to the par. Girl, 28 assistants? This can't be a coincidence. Also, many of his former employees have sued him for sexual harassment, but he always buys his way out. Oh, she whispered. All right, I think I need time to process all this. Maria, take your time, talk with Jungkook. They were former business partners, right? He might know him well. Of course, he knows him. He mumbled when reality dawned upon her. Jungkook didn't want her to work because Richard was a vile man. He knew him better than Wai-an. Wai-an took a breath and slowly walked to the kitchen. Jungkook was setting the plates on the table for breakfast. Hurry up or you're going to be late, he said as he dragged the chairs out for them to sit. Wai-an stood there watching him. Jungkook settled down and Wai-an didn't move. He looked up at her. What's wrong? You should have told me that Richard was facing harassment charges. Why didn't you? He buys his way out, Wai-an, every time. He walks out acquitted of all charges. If I had told you, you would have wanted evidence. I didn't have any. Wai-an sighs and walks to sit next to Jungkook. Guess I have to find another job now. I earn enough for us. My fortune could really last for the next 5 generations. But if you still want to, you can. It's your life. He assured him and Wai-an only wanted to hug the life out of him. I want to hug you so bad, but my hands are oily and it'll ruin your shirt. Lucky for you, my wardrobe has thousands of shirts like this. He winked, munching on toast. Smiling, Wai-an got up and hugged him hard. I love you so much, my bun-bun. I love you more.